Good evening, Tallahassee. Welcome to the Monday night edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Jessica Kirk.
And I'm student meteorologist Jonathan Marcus.
And what a wonderful weekend coming right off of Halloween. With that cold front coming through, a little bit cooler temperatures. We have an exciting show tonight.
Yeah, so it was actually pretty cool here in Tallahassee this weekend. Some people I know definitely enjoyed that. Other people's didn't necessarily want to bundle up as much.
Oh,
so
yes, absolutely.
They were not enjoying the cold. I was fine in a light jacket and jeans.
We've definitely had to keep layering up as those morning temperatures are hitting fairly low, but towards the afternoon we're still seeing those highs in the high 60s and 70s, which is pretty comfortable for me.
And then later on in this week we're actually going to warm up into the 80s before we get back into the cold front swing of fall come Friday. So
yep,
we have some pretty volatile weather going on this week, so
yes.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is finally November. Fall is here in the Panhandle. It has been a long summer.
Yes, I am excited to get finally stuck in these fall conditions. And for a better look at that, we're going to go ahead and pass things off onto Cynthia, who will be taking a look at our overview.
Good evening, Tallahassee. We've got a gorgeous look over Doak Campbell Stadium today. We've got a sunset happening because we had daylight savings over the weekend. For current temperatures in the area, Tallahassee sitting at 73, while Carabel and Apalachicola are sitting at 72 and 73. We're at 71 in Bainbridge and 76 down at St. Mark's. For the forecast model, you can just see a lot of moisture moving through the area. We're going to see a little bit of rain coming through later in the week. For tonight, we're sitting at 61 degrees, winds coming through east at 5 miles per hour, mostly cloudy. And for the next 3 days, our rain chances are 40% tomorrow for Tuesday, 10% on Wednesday, and 10% on Thursday. Lows are sitting at 63 and 64. Definitely higher temperatures than we saw over the weekend. Coming up for the rest of the show, we're going to talk about increasing moisture in the region, warmer temperatures, and the cold front that is going to be moving through the southeast on Friday. And I'll move it to the desk. Southeast.
As of right now, we're going to zoom in to our look at the southeast. We're sitting pretty cool in the southeast. We're mostly in the 60s. We're in the 50s in the north, and got a few 70s scattered about, as well as South Florida is sitting in the 80s. Moving into our dew points, you can see that most of the central southeast is very dry, and as we start moving down south, the dew points will increase as there is a warm front that is situating over here. It was, in fact, the same cold front that came through that gave us that really chilly weekend over daylight savings time, as it will start be moving back up, as well as there's a bit of rain going on in Texas, which is going to be leaking those higher dew points over towards the western end of the southeast. Taking a closer look at the satellite and radar, you can see there's some scattered showers up by Atlanta, but the main thing to focus on, other than the lack of rain throughout most of the southeast, as we are pretty clear since that front moved in, is these storms over central Florida that are caused by that warm front that is moving up through the area. As we're going to take a closer look at this, you can see there's some scattered thunderstorms about over Daytona Beach and a bit offshore as well. There's a few other scattered showers that are moving inland, but most of the rain is offshore. Moving into the futurecast, it's a very similar story the way it happened on Wednesday. If you were tuning the show earlier in the week or last week, the warm front and the cold front are going to come and they're going to sort of smush together, sort of duke it out a bit, as the cold front will overpower the warm front. However, the cold front will lose a lot of its energy in its sort of, quarrel with the warm front, and there will be some scattered showers out in this valley between these two fronts that form throughout the course of those fronts moving south and north. For today's storm outlook, got some scattered storms in Tallahassee as well as the coasts of the Carolinas and South Florida, as we saw with those warm fronts. And when we're moving into tomorrow's storm outlook, we're going to be connecting the dots from the coast of the Carolinas over to where we saw in Tallahassee, and this whole area may have a chance to develop some thunderstorms as a not so severe variety, as well as you can see some thunderstorms forming in Texas as a bit of western Louisiana. Moving into tonight's forecast, we're going to have some lower temperatures as Nashville is going to be sitting below 40 at 39 degrees. Charlotte's also pretty cool at 46. Mostly we're going to be in the 50s with South Florida, of course, being warmer in the upper 70s. Tomorrow's forecast, we're going to be sitting mostly in the 70s. Little Rock, Nashville, a little bit cooler as they're closer to the cold front with South Florida in the 80s. But for now, I'm going to pass things off to Tyler with a look at our local.
Thank you, Chris. Here, our first local look, FSU weather at Cascades Park. We're seeing some cloudy skies right now, but still looking fairly beautiful outside. We're seeing the light starting to go a little bit faster because of daylight savings time. Looking at our current conditions, 73 degrees, mostly cloudy here in Tallahassee with those winds fairly light coming out of the east at 3 miles per hour. For our rainfall, we didn't really see any at all today. Our observed rainfall, 0 inches. For the month, still haven't seen any rain. And along with all of that for the year, we're still about 15 inches below average. That rainy October helped us make up some of that rainfall deficit, but it's still been a fairly dry year. So we're hoping to bring in some more rain to help cool us off. Well, actually, we don't really need to be cooled off anymore, but to help make up those deficits. Our upper level water vapor is showing there's still a good amount of moisture all throughout Florida, as we're going to see through some of our locals. We still have some higher dew points right now. As we start to see another cold front move through later on in the week, we're going to see those dew points start to drop again. But for right now, fairly muggy conditions, not quite as comfortable as it was at the end of last week. And then the future cast is going to show this warm front that was a stationary front is pushing through up to Tallahassee, but it's going to start to die out as that cold front battles with it. If you've ever seen Rocky, this is kind of like the Rocky Balboa, Apollo Creed fight here, where the warm front is going to be losing, but really the cold front not going to get much of a win either. It's going to start to die out as well. So we're not going to see those colder temperatures here necessarily, but we're going to see those rain chances start to spark up a little bit here in Tallahassee. For tonight, we're going to get down to 61 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, so still going to be a fairly nice night, getting down to those lower 60s. Those winds still going to be slightly breezy, coming on the east at 5 miles per hour. For tomorrow, though, we're going to start to heat up, finally get back into the 80s with the scattered rain and thunderstorms coming through. Winds still going to stay fairly light at about 6 miles per hour. Looking at the next 7 days, Tuesday expecting that 40% chance of rain, and then as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, rain chances are going to start to die out, only going to be about 10%, mostly cloudy days. See those highs stay in the lower 80s though, with the hot spot being Wednesday at 81 degrees. And then once we get into Friday, things are going to cool off a little bit, 70% chance of rain and our high getting down to 72 degrees. And as we get into Saturday, even colder at 67 degrees with 50% chance of rain early on, and then the low for Saturday night going to get down to 44 degrees. And then as we get into Sunday and Monday, going to start to heat up a little bit once again, getting up to 70 degrees on Sunday and 71 on Monday, with having a 10% chance of rain on Monday. Now we're going to bring things back to the desk with Cynthia. We're going to talk about the end of hurricane season here. We're finally down to the last month. Been a long 5 months so far, and usually Novembers aren't quite as active, but maybe we'll see a change this season.
Mm-hmm. It's after we had Hurricane Michael last year, pretty late in the season, I was nervous about what the hurricane season would be like this year, but I feel like we've gotten pretty lucky.
Yeah, on average, not usually seeing many hurricanes in November. If we look at the statistics, about once every 3 years, we're going to see a named hurricane in November. We've actually had a fairly active last 3 weeks of October here. We had Hurricane Pablo and then tropical storms Melissa, Nestor, and Olga, with Nestor actually hitting Tallahassee a little bit, although it wasn't too bad for us. And then just recently, subtropical storm Rebecca formed. Wasn't really much of anything, though, out in the Atlantic.
Yeah, and Hurricane Kate in 1985 was actually the latest in-season hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. It hit Mexico Beach, Florida on November 21st.
Yep, so not necessarily out of the question that we could get hit by a hurricane, but the odds are a lot lower. The Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean are starting to cool off a little bit. If we're going to see a hurricane, it's most likely going to come out of the Caribbean. Those waters are still going to stay fairly warm. Any cold fronts that try to push through the Florida region will die out a little bit before they hit the Caribbean. So those waters are still staying warm, still keeping up the chances that we could see something, even though it's fairly unlikely here in the last month of the season.
I'll take it.
Yeah, and if we're looking at just on average, we usually see about 2 hurricanes after October 7th during the hurricane season. So we saw one with Pablo. So if we're just looking at that statistic, we could say, oh, we're going to see another hurricane in November, but it doesn't necessarily work like that. Although the last hurricane that we saw form in November that really had an impact was back in 2016. So we'll just have to keep an eye on things, although definitely going to start to die down as we get to November. We're almost through the end of the hurricane season. Now we're going to pass things off to Zach, and he's going to give us a national look.
Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous out there today in Tallahassee. I don't know about y'all, but that is my kind of weather. We stayed around that 70-degree mark really all day today. And looking across the nation, temperatures, at least for the southern half of the nation, not too bad. Winter is in full swing up here. Minneapolis, 37 degrees. Even colder as we get back here towards Billings at 32. But here in the south, Dallas-Fort Worth, 75 degrees. An absolutely beautiful day. Looking at our dew points, pretty dry across most of the country. You're seeing the browns, and even over here as we get into the desert southwest, 11 degrees in Albuquerque, 57 in Los Angeles. So a big contrast there between the coast and the deserts, but still very dry. And then of course across the southeast, we have that more humid, moist air starting to come up from the Gulf. So we see as a pretty typical kind of pattern. The satellite and radar, not a whole lot to talk about right now on the surface view. We have some light showers and thunderstorms here. South Chicago, between Chicago and St. Louis, draped here across up towards the Dakotas. We got a little bit of snow here across the eastern U.S. Really not too much going on. We have a little bit of that from the warm front that we talked about earlier coming up from the Gulf through Florida and into the southeast. Zoom in a little bit closer here towards Nebraska and the Dakotas. We have one piece of that system that's really going to come in and could bring some snow as well as some rain to much of the eastern United States. And here's another storm that was just exiting. Not too much going on right now. You can see here towards Quebec, we have some light snow showers there. And really up here towards Canada, this is where the storm is situated. So as far as our future cast here in Florida, we can see that warm front really coming up here to the north, and it's going to try to bring in those showers and thunderstorms as well as those warmer conditions, but it's going to have a battle with this nice, big, strong cold front right here. That cold air is pushing down into our region, but the two are kind of going to duke it out for a little while, and neither one is really going to win. By the time they get to Tallahassee, both of the fronts basically dissolve. We're left with some light scattered showers and thunderstorms, but nothing really too much to worry about. Watches and warnings nationally. We have some air stagnation advisories up here in the Pacific Northwest. So, you know, people that are sensitive, the people that have asthma, the elderly, children, if you do experience problems with, you know, respiratory issues, this could be something to watch out for. But then, of course, we have here along the Mississippi flood warnings. And even as we go down here towards Mississippi, down towards Hattiesburg, even towards Mobile, we have those flood warnings for a couple of the rivers down there. We're highlighting one of those for you here tonight at Pearl River, Jackson, Mississippi. It's 3 feet above flood stage, and that is current as of noon today. And it's going to continue going through November 8th. We're expecting that flooding to continue along Pearl River. Tonight, you can see that cold air really up here over the Midwest into the Great Plains. That bone-chilling cold is really going to keep on keeping on. For the rest of the country, especially here in the southeast, not too bad. We have those 50s across areas, Atlanta and New Orleans in the 50s. Tomorrow's forecast, absolutely great for us here. 80 degrees in Tallahassee, 56 in Kansas City, 59 in Memphis. Looking like a fantastic start to your week. Now I'm going to pass it off to Jonathan with a next look at your local.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and start out with a live look over Doak Campbell, where you'll notice it is much darker than it has been in our previous broadcast this semester, and that's a result of the change to daylight savings time that happened over the weekend. I hope everyone enjoyed their extra hour of sleep. I know I was definitely in need of it. But go ahead and looking at the almanac, our actual high temperature day was right on average. Our low is going to be 5 degrees above average. So we're in our good typical fall conditions right now. Records, we are well below and above them respectively for your high and your low. Not really much going on satellite and radar, but that is going to change as we look further and further into the week. which is demonstrated right here on our futurecast. So we have this warm front that pushed through this weekend as a cold front, and it is pushing back north. And then we have this big, strong cold front that we've been mentioning. And they're going to kind of collide over us, and that's going to produce some shower activity in the area throughout the week. But it's also going to be a little bit warm and muggy like a typical summer into fall day in the 80s later this week. But this cold front is eventually going to remain victorious. But for now, tonight it's going to be 61. You're going to be mostly cloudy with some winds from the east. Daycast tomorrow, it's going to feel good outside tomorrow. You do have that threat of showers that is associated with those two fronts that we mentioned. But other than that, by the afternoon and evening, it should clear out. It's going to be in your 80s. It's not going to be too hot. It's not going to be too cold. We're not going to be Goldilocks with the weather tomorrow. You're not going to need to wear 3 different layers. It's going to feel fairly decent throughout the day. So go ahead and enjoy that weather tomorrow. But for your next 7 days, for Tuesday, it's going to be 80 like we just said. But notice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the weather's going to be pretty much the same. You're going to be in your 80s. You're going to have your clouds, maybe a slight chance of a shower. And then the big difference is Friday and Saturday, where you're going from 80 to 72, so an 8-degree drop, and then another drop from Friday to Saturday. And that's when this cold front is going to be moving through the area. Friday, it's going to bring some rainy conditions to the area, so make sure you have your umbrella and your rain jacket for class on Friday. But by Saturday, I know we don't have a home game, but if you're going to go ahead and head out and do something on Saturday, you do have a 50% chance of rain, but that's going to be pushed out of the area when that cold front leaves. By Sunday and Monday, you're going to get back into your 70s. It's going to be your typical fall conditions, and it's not going to be that hot outside, which means I'm finally excited to get those fall conditions started. But as we transition more and more into fall, that means that we have more and more of a cold and flu risk that we are going to talk about right now on this desk.
Yes, unfortunately, as we've been getting into these cooler temperatures, I know a lot of my friends have experienced not only sickness, but also allergies. And as always, we've got the flu going around this time of year.
Yes. I myself have fallen victim to a little bit of a cold. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice right now, but we went ahead and checked the Center for Disease Control's website and went ahead and looked at the flu outbreak map. And there's not that much. It's just localized activity in Florida. I think Tallahassee personally is one of those localized spots from what I've seen within my friends.
Yeah.
But there are more cases in Georgia, right?
Yes, so we do have a small outbreak happening in Georgia, and then we've got a little bit going on in Louisiana as well. But really, Tallahassee just has so many students and so many people here that when one person gets sick,
Yes.
it really is just so easily spread to everyone else. So as always, keep your hands washed, hand sanitizer.
Especially if you're living in the dorms. I know last year one person on the
Absolutely.
hall would get sick, and then all of a sudden
Yes.
you have an entire, the entirety of Landis Hall is sick with the plague. We would call it the plague. But we definitely want to encourage our viewers to go ahead and get their flu shots, and there are a number of locations in Tallahassee where you can go ahead and do that.
Right, there's so many options. So one of them is you can actually go get it at the Health and Wellness Center. They have flu shots every day during the week, don't they?
Yeah, so go ahead and meet with your general physician that you can get at the Health and Wellness Center, or a nurse practitioner or someone, and they can go ahead and offer you a flu shot. If they offer it, definitely go ahead and accept it. I'm terrified of needles myself, and I went and got a flu shot, so if I can do it, I guarantee that you can do it. But there are other locations in Tallahassee you can go if you don't want to get on campus. Like I know all of the Publixes in the area are currently doing a special that if you get a flu shot, you can receive a little something.
Right,
Yeah.
and why not? I mean, if you're going to get your flu shot, you might as well get something else
so if
out of it.
You're a college student, you love free stuff, go to Publix, get your flu shot, but also you can go to Walgreens. Any pharmacy will be able to give you a flu shot in addition to a regular doctor. The main point is you just need to get your flu shot.
And along with getting your flu shot, there's so many other things you can do to keep yourself healthy. Just keep your hands washed, got that hand sanitizer, and really just Lysol. Lysol wipes are my favorite. Always got to watch out for those doorknobs all around campus.
You never know where people you don't know if people have washed their hands, which is why we want to preach this message of continually washing your hands, continually being alert and vigilant for these flu viruses.
Right, absolutely, especially as we're getting into the flu season, into this colder weather. But for now, I'm actually going to head over to the wall and give you guys a little bit of a look around Florida. We had a really pleasant day today in the 70s here in Tallahassee, and really all over the Panhandle. And so down in South Florida, they're actually feeling a little bit more uncomfortable in the 80s in Tampa, and even in West Palm Beach and Miami, 82, and down in Key West at 83. So it's still warm down in South Florida as always. Here are those dew points down in South Florida once again, extremely high. 69 in Tampa, 72 in Orlando, and down in Key West, we got that 72 as well. But here in the Panhandle, we have a little bit lower dew points with that 64 in Jacksonville, that 62 in Tallahassee, and that 58 in Pensacola. And that's demonstrated by that cold front that is currently making its way down towards the southeast. It's going to give us a little bit of a change of weather. Now there's lots of clouds all over the southeast, and in Florida we can see all of this rain that's really spotted showers just up through the majority of Florida. We also have a lot of these showers in the Gulf just off the coast, and this is also associated with that warm front down in South Florida. Now here's that warm front coming up to meet with this cold front that's really just going to sacrifice itself and get rid of that warm front. But we are going to see some shower activity here in Tallahassee and in much of the Panhandle and even in parts of South Georgia. And this cold front's not going to be able to bring us any relief, as it's going to use most of its energy to get rid of that cold front. So we're not going to see cooler temperatures quite yet. Here's that upper level water moisture that's happening with that warm front. We can see a lot of that over South Florida, where that air is just so moist, and that's helping those dew points stay in the higher temperatures and keeping them muggy and uncomfortable. Tonight in the Panhandle, we're going to have some nice temperatures, 60 in Pensacola, 64 in Tallahassee, and that 67 in Jacksonville. We do have that chance of showers as that warm front is going to be making its way up the Panhandle and then merging with that cold front here in our area. And down in South Florida, there's going to see temperatures in the 70s. Key West is going to stay at that warm 80 as usual. Tomorrow in Pensacola at 9 a.m., going to be a breezy 65. Those clouds are going to hang around. We're going to see temperatures in the mid-70s by 3 p.m. So once again, another cool day. And all over eastern Florida, they're going to see a lot of storms. Gainesville at 80, Ocala at 82, and that chance of storms really for the majority of the day, once again, as that warm front is just coming up into our area. And tomorrow in Orlando, 79 degrees. And as we get further into the day, it's really not going to get higher than 85, but those afternoon showers are going to pop up as they usually do in that area. And tomorrow, as we're looking at South Florida, those temperatures are just staying nice and hot. That 87 in Miami, 86 in Homestead, and Key West at 85. Naples also at 88. They're really seeing no relief. That warm front that cold front that came through didn't even reach them. They're just still hanging out in summer down in South Florida. But I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to Tyler, and he's going to give us a look at our last local.
Thank you, Jesse. Live on our FSU weather stand. I'm not really used to this. It's dark outside and it's only 6:24 p.m. Really, daylight savings time has really messed up everything for me. Getting dark way too early, but that's okay. Still looks absolutely beautiful over Doak Campbell Stadium with those lights shining bright coming out of the stadium. Really a great view there. Currently, we're at 73 degrees. Going to see those temperatures continue to drop now that the sun is gone. Mostly cloudy skies will keep the temperatures from getting too low, though, because at night, when you have cloudy skies, it stays a little bit warmer as we're on the ground level. Looking at the wind, easterly winds coming in about 3 miles per hour. Rainfall, once again, haven't seen any rain today. Still 0 inches for today, 0 inches for the month, and we're still in a deficit for rainfall for the year. So hopefully this cold front that's going to start to come through but die out is going to bring us some rain and help us make up that deficit even more as we continue to crawl closer and closer away from those drought-like conditions here in Tallahassee. But our dew points in the region still fairly muggy. Tallahassee's at 62 right now and Wilma's at 66 because of all the moisture in the air. And the rain that's going to come is going to keep things moist for us. But once we start to see another cold front push through and bring down those temperatures later on in the week, we're going to start to see those dew points drop back into those more comfortable ranges in the lower 50s and upper 40s. But as we look into the future for tomorrow morning, we're going to see the rain really start to kick in around 9:15 a.m., especially to the west in Quincy. They're seeing a lot stronger rainfall over there. And then as we move throughout the day, you're going to see some scattered rainfall, mostly cloudy conditions as we get into later in the day. And then once we get to Wednesday, just going to be more cloudy conditions, not quite as high of a chance for rainfall on Wednesday. And then if we're looking at the storm outlook, possibility for thunderstorms today, not really that high, still expecting a chance for some thunderstorms on the western side of the Panhandle, but not really too strong or too intense. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. But tomorrow, severe weather outlook, still a chance for thunderstorms, not quite so severe in nature. That's what I was trying to say. Not expecting very strong, severe thunderstorms here in Tallahassee. This is just a chance for some regular thunderstorms moving through. For tonight, 61 degrees, going to stay mostly cloudy, and as we see those winds coming out of the east at about 5 miles per hour. And then looking forward to your school day tomorrow, going to get up to 80 degrees with the scattered thunderstorms and showers. So be sure to bring that rain jacket or an umbrella, something of that sort. And then looking at the next 7 days, 40% chance of rain tomorrow at 80 degrees. And then as we move through Wednesday and Thursday, rain chances start to die out. And then Friday, 70% chance of rain, and those temperatures really start to drop throughout the weekend. But now I'm going to pass things off to the desk with Chris and Zach to close things out.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. As we saw with those, the 7 day that I came in, it was going to be sitting back in the 80s. I'm not quite looking forward to that.
Yeah, we thought we were done with those summer-like muggy conditions, but got to get that one last taste in there, I guess.
Yeah, we are in Florida. We have to get that one last taste of those summer. I was really happy over the weekend. I finally got to wear jeans.
Right, yeah, me too, yeah.
Most people know me and know my favorite kind of pants to wear is jeans.
Right.
Always wear jeans if I can.
Right, yeah. For me personally, it's just too hot for the long sleeves, the long pants. It's like, it's kind of nice to dress up every once in a while, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of prohibited. You just sweat as soon as you, step outside. Finally, thankfully, fall is here. We're going to have a couple of warm days, but those are going to be the exception, not the rule.
Yeah. Once this warm days are through, we're finally going to start cooling down once again.
Right.
Get back in the wearing long pants, long shirt weather. I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Kind of don't want to walk to class in the rain tomorrow, but we're behind on rainfall, and
we got to make it up somehow. Unfortunately, we can't always get rain at the most ideal time.
Yeah.
I'd love it to rain every night between midnight and 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Good sleeping weather. Doesn't affect my walk to class, but Mother Nature is not like clockwork.
Yeah.
It's a cycle, it's a pattern, and she was here first.
Yeah. Can't change the rain. Well, what days it's going to rain. We can only tell you what days it's going to rain.
Exactly. Unfortunately, despite popular belief, we report the weather. We do not control the weather. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But
If only.
shouldn't be too bad. But please follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSUweather.
And make sure you like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSUweather.
And of course, you can always watch us live every night on YouTube at youtube.com/FSUweather.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. Send us pictures of snow if you have snow. Send us pictures of cool weather.
Absolutely. Any interesting weather out there, we'll make sure to get it on the air.
Yeah. But for now, for everyone here, I'm student meteorologist Chris Knoll.
And I'm student meteorologist Zach Richards. Tallahassee, you keep it classy and have a great night.